Arrow the Truth, Spence versus Showtime Sean Porter was one of the most epic fights with ebbs and flows in the sport of boxing. And what we're going to do is I'm going to kind of give you a breakdown of what that fight looked like prior to the fight, the build-up, and how it materialized over that short duration of 12 rounds that was non-stop action, and it showed what it takes to fight at this level. Whenever you are an athlete coming up and you think this sport is an easy thing to do or incur, then you got to understand that there's many more layers to becoming the New England Patriots than it is to just look at this sport and think it's something that's easy to do. But before I get started, let me fix my camera real quick. I like to introduce myself. My name is Eric E. Fairley, aka The Real Fight Doctor, and there is no other on this level. Now back to one of the greater fights in boxing history at the 147 weight class. We're going back to the days of Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, Ray Leonard, Hagler. When you look at Hagler Hearns, it was 12 rounds of that. Two men, optimal condition. When you see that kind of skill set in offensive and defensive prowess, even though there were a lot of punches landed, there were a lot of punches deflected, a lot of punches eluded, and a lot of punches that got smothered and suffocated only due to the fact that they understood the principles of boxing. So when you see that, you have to tip your cap. I look at that fight last night. I don't know how you saw it, but I'm going to break it down throughout the rounds. I'm going to break it in sectors. And one of the things that I like about Sean Porter is that over the tenure that he's been boxing as a professional athlete, he's accrued a variety of style, a vast variety of highly skilled and technical, just little nuances that have made his style so difficult to deal with. He's even incorporated his stature and movement as a football player, and when that comes into play, it's brilliant in so many ways because it works for him. I'm just not someone who's dropping in their opinion. Our boxing lineage was thought so and so reputable that we were called in to assist them in the camp, which was a great honor, but on our end we couldn't make the call. So to see how it materialized, and I kind of knew what this fight was before it got started. I knew what it was going to be during the camp. There were moments where I was thinking, man, maybe Sean will upset the apple cart, but I just understood the variable in this fight was size. And I knew that Errol Spence was doing what it took to get in condition, because I understand that whenever you're a fighter and you're training in 100 degrees, you know, it's every day it's like 105 degrees in the gym. We used to train at 121 degrees. We were in training camps against guys like Chris Bird. You got to fight at a different level. We helped out Klitschko when he was going to fight Tony Thompson. Hassan Rockman when he was going to fight Klitschko. Klitschko backed out because he heard he was looking so good in camp. These are the kind of things that, man, when you've been in those kind of camps and you've seen that and up close and personal, you understand what he went through. So when I was watching Derrick James and Errol Spence, I was like, man, they're going to be ready. So when I saw those rounds go by 3, 4, 5, Errol Spence in the 7th round had put out 6th, 7th, 8th round. They put out so many punches. But one of the things that Errol Spence stayed true to when it comes down to his boxing skills is he always works behind the jab. Pow. He's never eluding the jab. He come in and under, boom, 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 boom. And he working up like the great Sugar Ray Robinson and Marvelous Marvin Hagler, who's the guy who he really mirrors more than anybody else in the sport of boxing. Then you see Sean Porter coming showing a lot of the variables that he brings to the table, the intangibles, which are the conditioning and the brute force that he brings, and he can work behind that force. The difference is he suffocates a lot of his stuff, and he's fat with his punches, So Errol Spence, when he was raking his body, boom, boom, you could hear the body shots because Sean Porter was tucked as well. And so he did get Errol Spence from time to time to the body with some great body shots, but they were more off a pivot. And Sean, good at stepping around and cranking that body shot. He does that well. So he hit Errol with several good ones, but Errol just stayed to the body. So those intangibles are very important whenever you're developing a guy and he's at that level of the fight game, that no mistakes. Everything you make a mistake in, you'll pay for. So Errol Spence showed true grit. He said, I'm going to take you into the area that you want to fight. Errol Spence always embraces and welcomes how you fight. You think you the best at your style. He did it against Kell Brook. He went to Kell Brook's crib and dethroned him at his home, in his own home in the UK. And not only that, he knocked him out in front of 37,000 people. The next thing he decided to do was take on Mikey Garcia, who was a boxer, puncher. So he said, so you think you can outbox me? People saying I can't box. He's always welcome in the challenge. He went and he fought Mikey Garcia and outboxed one of the greater fighters in this era in Mikey Garcia, heavy-handed, even-handed, and got great speed, footwork, and like I said, when you can beat a guy in his own game, you need not say anything else. You do not have to prove anything else to the boxing community because they don't understand professional sports like that anyway. You can be a diehard, but that does not mean you understand what goes on behind those doors. Like when it's all said and done, it's an entirely different beast. That's why just because you got a Nerf football does not mean you can play in the NFL, playoffs, Super Bowl, or make the Hall of Fame. It's just two different conversations, two different things all together when you look at this. And the third thing, when you see Errol Spence, he brings such arrogance, which helps him because he wants to beat you. So when he heard that Sean Porter was so tough, so rugged, he wanted to show him that I can bite down on my mouthpiece, go mano a mano and bump with you for 12 rounds. And I think he actually outlasted him energy-wise. From 7th, 8th round, he even noticed that Sean Porter, the gas tank kind of flailed. And let me explain something to you about that. Sean Porter fought at 165 as an amateur. The other thing is that Errol Spence walks around close to 180. The variable in that fight is weight, size, natural bone density. And it's not like Errol Spence walking around and he got a fat stomach and big, heavy arms. Errol Spence is bone dense, meaning the dexterity of his bones is his weight. So it's hard to push a guy like that back who's strong in the bones and can hold you at bay and wow. And I knew that would eventually weigh in on Sean, but he stepped back from time to time and pop. And I said, whoa, what a jab. And made Sean remember, I can get out here and I can box your lights out. But Sean uses so many good techniques. And one of the things that I just spoke of earlier, I must get right into this, is how Sean uses a lot of different styles, but they're not sewed together well. So that is a problem when it comes down to the rolling out the game plan. Don't get it twisted. Sean Porter's a savage. And there's not many people on the planet that can do anything with him at all. Let alone, any weight classes, let alone anything, anybody under him. Forget about it. He will steamroll you. But when we do, for those of you who never watch the channel, what we do, I take 3 generations of knowledge of boxing. We're going into the 4th generation. And what we do is we break it down so coaches can really teach it to their fighter in a process in which they can carry it out. My guys will tell you, they can speak to that, how it's basically broke down into like a university. Like if you're going to school to be a lawyer, I'm showing you how to be a lawyer, and we're in law school. So in boxing, we got this program, it's called the School of Boxing. It's specifically not just the boxing skills, because that's our online academy. We kind of show you the skills, how to do particular thing, whether it's the basics, punch logistics, or it's just mid training, how to do speed and then do reaction drills, countering, and then we teach you how to punch like a pro. We also have the styles in which you'll need when you transition from being an amateur fighter to a professional, which is what we call the Philly shell. These are postures you're gonna need. Errol Spence used it last night. The peekaboo, Sean Porter used last night, off to the side, boom, got several good combinations off by using it, throwing punches away. That's in our peekaboo punch performance. That's above the basic peekaboo, and what that does is showing you how to open guys up once they understand your style. So we show you how to do throwaway punches and put it somewhere else. Chavez was great at this. Tyson, of course, was great. Jose Torres, masterful. And when you see these kind of styles and develop these kind of techniques, kind of takes your game to another level. Now, teaching you the skill set is one thing, but when you see someone like Sean Porter, you got to understand that there's also a process in which you give it to him. There's a process in which you hit them hard, and that's not punching fat. With the punches coming out here, you take power off of your stuff, as Bruce Lee said it. Nothing more effective than a 4-inch punch. So in the peekaboo punch performance, you learn how to snap that neck. Wow, wow. The way that you hurt a person is not always the power. It's the timing of the shot. Pow, pow, how you cross them over. And I knew that when you are taught to teach that way, then you're going to be a much, much more effective coach with your fighter. So these are techniques that we show. And when I speak to the fact that Errol Spence, I love talking about the way he delivers a shot. Boom, 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 in a technical format, but at the same time, they fluid whenever he puts them together. And that's so important. There's not a lot of space for the guy to counter you, and the punches have more impact because it snaps the neck. Because the punches are back to back, so if someone comes hit you from that way and the other comes hit you from that way, that next snap, you're out of there, or you dropping. That's a science. Now hitting hard is another thing. One of the things that we do, we show you in our punch pad for pros. It's a punch pad program that helps develop the dexterity of the body. Boom! Errol Spence, the bone density is there. There's ways that you got to strengthen your hands before you fight, or before you hit mitts, before you hit the heavy bag, before you spar. We show them how to kind of do that, because a lot of guys come in there and they be hitting and breaking their metacarpals or cracking knuckles and stuff like that. You don't want to allow yourself to be susceptible to those type injuries whenever you are a fighter. So having those little techniques really help elevate your boxing cachet. So when I seen Spence knuckle up in the 7th, 8th, 9th round and just start putting him down, and then in the 11th, where I knew that Sean was coming with that chin up, and he clipped him. I mean, that was one of the cleaner shots, man. And Sean Porter's eyes just kind of went sideways, and when he dropped, I just knew it. I just was like, wow, that's what happened when you punching and you're fat with your shots. If that was a shorter shot, he would have been able to throw that thing and been tucked right here and caught that right hook. But you know, that's what happens. The devil's in the details. So that's kind of who we are. We help make sure that those type things are minimized in your fighting cachet, and that the coaches have like a program on how to groom your fighter level by level. That's kind of it, man. Errol Spence is so groomed that it takes a lot to break down those walls. It's going to definitely take a guy who's a natural pugilist, a Terrence Crawford type guy. Maybe not even Terrence Crawford, but you know, sense to say on my side that that's the guy that I feel could give him the most problems and kind of eat the victory, because he understands the angles and movement and countering, and he's a savage. He's a true mean guy inside. So you got to have all of those components, like Sugar Ray Leonard. He's Sugar Ray Leonard-esque. So when you see him, it's very you got to note that he has all of those components. And I see him being such a great matchup. And we got to get that boxing match, because that's one of the fights that's going to go down in history. You saw it last night. It was such a great fight. It materialized into more than what people probably thought it would be. Nobody thought those guys could actually have as much conditioning as they did, but they brought the funk, man. And that was kind of what my takeaway was. Danny Garcia, I think he misunderstood what he saw last night. Errol Spence likes to prove that he can beat you at what you do best. Sean Porter fights like a pit bull with a lot of different options. Mikey Garcia, pure boxer puncher with great hand speed, and he beat him. Kell Brook loves to use the hometown crowd. He went there and peeled his cap back across the pond. He just keeps proving that he can do what you do better than you can. And that's kind of it, man. That's all I got. I hope you guys who have not been on our channel before take the time to spruce through, check out our page, our channel, enjoy the boxing content. If there's something we can help you with, simply go up to the website or contact us, and we'll be looking forward to helping you out, get to the other side in the winner's circle. Until next time, Fight Doctor signing out. Be blessed at Godspeed. Congratulations to the Spence team. Congratulations to Team Porter for materializing such a savage fighter that fighters that are coming up could take notes from and try to catapult over. We out of here. Be blessed at Godspeed. Master Boxing signing out. Subscribe. Peace.